Mr. President, I want to as I look out to the many folks that are here, there's so many dreamers here. Astrid Silva is here. She has a family member in process of deportation. You actually highlighted her case when you mentioned your executive action. Erica Andiola is here, and she has a question that many dreamers have as well.
Hi, Mr. President. I'm a dreamer from Arizona, the state where Chef Arpaio and I usually criminalize our communities. And my sister is here who actually qualifies for DACA extended, or would have qualified if it was implemented. And my mom is also here. She was unfortunately left out of your executive action since she doesn't have any citizen children. She only has dreamers as children. She is also in deportation proceedings, and because of a previous deportation that she didn't have and came back for us, she's actually a priority in your deportation directive. And so my question to you is, what's going to happen to my family? Given the fact that immigration reform, it's not going to happen anytime soon, and we know that because of the politics in Congress, what's going to happen in the meantime with my mom and my family if immigration comes to my house once again?
Well, let me just say, I don't know, obviously, the details of every specific case, and I'm happy to have somebody look at the case that you just referred to and what's going on with your mom and your sister. What we've done is we've expanded my authorities under executive action and prosecutorial discretion as far as we can legally under the existing statute, the existing law. And so now the question is, how can we get a law passed? Now, that's heartbreaking because it means that not everybody is immediately helped. But the fact of the matter is that until that law is changed, what we have to do is to prioritize under the existing law, and what we then have to do is try to get this legal case resolved. But look, this is something that, you know, I wrestle with every single day. And that is that there are laws on the books that I think are counterproductive. I think there are laws on the books that I don't think are right in terms of making sure that America is strong. But I have to deal with a Congress that a big part of which disagrees with me. I've got to deal with judges who may not have been appointed by me and have a different reading of the law. And so what we have to do is just keep on working. But the one thing that I have to just say to everybody here, every major social movement, every bit of progress in this country, whether it's been the workers' rights movement or the civil rights movement or the women's rights movement, every single bit of that progress has required us to fight and to push, and you make progress, and then you don't get everything right away, and then you push some more. And that's how the country continually gets better. Precisely because the stories of people like you, that then hopefully softens the hearts of people who right now are blocking us from solving some of these problems. And that is going to be something that we just have to continue to work on. That's the nature of it.
Sí, señor presidente, muchas personas se preguntan, el caso de Astrid, el caso de Erika y muchos otros soñadores, dicen, si usted crea acciones ejecutivas que los jueces van a tener que determinar su legalidad, ¿por qué no incluir a los padres de estos jóvenes soñadores? Y si el juez dice, o los jueces dicen que eso no es legal y constitucional, pues entonces se lidia con eso, pero inclúyanlos.
Because the theory of prosecutorial discretion is that you have limited resources, and because of that, you can't apply the law of enforcement to everybody. But if I include everybody, then it's no longer prosecutorial discretion, then I'm just ignoring the law. And as I said before, then there really would be a strong basis to overturn everything that we've done. So that's why ultimately the law itself is going to have to be changed. In the meantime, what we have to do is make sure that we're continually fighting to uphold what we've already done. I mean, we've got 800,000 people who are currently taking advantage of DACA, including the young woman who just spoke, from what I understand. And now we've got to get more. But ultimately, in order to make sure that we don't have any heartbreaking stories with respect to immigration, we're going to have to fix the law. There are only so many shortcuts. Ultimately, we have to change the law, and people have to remain focused on that. And the way that happens is, by the way, by voting.